When our daughter got married, my husband actually invited his first love to sit at the main table and even asked our daughter to call her Mom. Vivian has no children in her life. This is her only wish, and I must fulfill it for her. I firmly disagreed, but our daughter on the side came to his defense. It's just a matter of calling her Mom once. Do you really need to be so fussy? But later, when I really stopped caring, they started to regret it. At our daughter's wedding, my husband William and I sat at the main table, watching them, our hearts filled with gratification. But when it was almost time for the toast, the hotel door was slowly pushed open. Evelyn is getting married today. I, as her mother, am late. I'll find myself with a 300,000 yuan red envelope as a wedding gift for you too. A woman, dressed even more stylishly than me and looking very familiar, walked onto the stage. She took out a card from her pocket and stuffed it to our daughter. At this time, William also walked over with a smile and said to our daughter, "Take it. This is a little token of your mother's love." Only then did I recognize that this woman was William's first love, Vivian. Vivian's family is very wealthy. She went abroad after graduating from university and has just returned recently. I had met her 2 or 3 times before, so I had an impression of her. At this moment, the 3 of them were huddled together, very intimate, without considering my feelings at all. After a while, William came down from the stage and whispered, "Vivian has no children. Let Evelyn recognize her as her mother later. She might be able to get some money in the future. For Evelyn's future, just bear with it for now." My face turned ugly, and I directly refused. Our family's conditions are not bad. We don't care about her little money. Besides, Evelyn is my only daughter. Letting her call someone else Mom on her wedding day, have you considered me? William got anxious. She has no children all her life because of me. This is her only wish. I must fulfill it today. Our commotion was quite loud, attracting the attention of our daughter and son-in-law on the stage. I thought that the daughter I had always cherished would stand by my side. But she actually came down from the stage and started to publicly accuse me. It's just a matter of calling Aunt Vivian Mom once. Do you really need to argue with my dad like this? Do you have to make everyone look bad before you're satisfied? After saying that, she pulled William and sat with Vivian, and I was left stunned on the spot. So this was what my daughter really thought of me. Then what about my decades of unremitting efforts for this family? Back then, for the sake of William, I put aside my pride and married into his family. William's family company went through so many crises, and it was all because of me that it survived. At this moment, watching them go to toast together, I felt as if all my strength had been drained. When William went to give a blessing speech, he even tightly held Vivian's hand and went on stage together. The latter glanced at me provocatively. After William finished speaking, she even hugged him and kissed him. "You've worked so hard all these years. Our daughter has been raised so well. The person I'm most grateful to is you. From now on, you should think more about yourself and pursue true happiness." I was so angry that I almost laughed. Wasn't this hinting that William wasn't happy with me? Should I be so sensible as to leave and fulfill them? But William and our daughter still stood by her side, not even giving me a single glance. Vivian deliberately looked in my direction. This also made everyone look at me. All the people at this banquet were acquaintances, and they all knew that I was William's wife. So their eyes more or less carried a hint of disdain. There were also some sarcastic remarks that reached my ears. I felt extremely uncomfortable, and before the wedding ended, I left directly. After returning home, I collapsed on the bed, my mood extremely complicated. For our daughter's wedding, I had spent so much time and money, but in the end, I was making wedding clothes for others. Thinking about William's attitude just now, my tears couldn't stop flowing. Just as I was lost in thought, my phone suddenly rang. As soon as I answered, William started scolding me on the other end. "The wedding isn't over yet, and you left. Do you deliberately want to make us father-daughter look bad? If I could be with Vivian, would there be any chance for you back then?" Seeing that I didn't answer, he continued talking to himself. After the wedding, he was going to travel with Vivian for 3 days. "Don't think too much. I'm just trying to make up for a little regret from my youth. Nothing else will happen. Hearing this, the last glimmer of hope I had for him completely disappeared. His relationship with Vivian was a regret from their youth, but my 30 years were simply a joke. William, when you come back, let's get a divorce. My voice was dry, but my tone was extremely firm. Since he chose Vivian, I would let go and fulfill them. I had wasted so many years and didn't want to waste the rest of my life. But William on the other end of the phone laughed. You don't need to threaten me with divorce. We've been married for so long. Who's afraid of that? All right, I'll hang up first. Take good care of our daughter and son-in-law these few days. Wait for me to come back. It's understandable that he didn't believe me. After hanging up the phone, I immediately started packing my luggage. But when I was about to leave, I ran into my daughter. At this moment, looking at the big and small bags in my hands, she impatiently clicked her tongue. Mom, what do you mean? Do you just want us to coax you? We've already said that we have our reasons. Can you stop being unreasonable? Even now, they still thought I was being unreasonable. I was supposed to endure Vivian's provocation and humiliation without making any response. I looked at her indifferently, feeling that all my love for her over the years had been in vain. But I still didn't say anything and drove away directly. After going to the law firm to draw up a divorce agreement, I directly sent it to William. She didn't reply to me yet. Maybe she was too busy being affectionate with Vivian. But it didn't matter anymore. I took my luggage and went straight back to the house my parents bought for me. This was supposed to be the wedding room for me and William. But his parents insisted that I live in William's house, so it was left unused. Fortunately, I would come to clean it regularly, so I could move in directly now. Feeling sleepy, I lay on the bed and soon fell asleep. At my age, dealing with such things really takes a lot of my energy, but I hadn't slept for long when I was woken up by my daughter's phone call. She complained on the other end, my stomachache is acting up again. Come back and cook for me quickly. What did you say to my dad? He blocked you. Go and apologize quickly. Hearing this, I sneered. What else could I say? Of course, I said I wanted a divorce. If your stomach hurts, go see a doctor. I'm your mother, not your servant. Then I directly hung up the phone. I've been at their beck and call for so long, and all my efforts have been taken for granted. From now on, I will never be soft-hearted again. Perhaps frightened by me, my daughter didn't contact me again. After taking a good 3-day rest, I started thinking about what I wanted to do in the future. I consider these 30 years wasted. The only thing I'm glad about is that I never gave up working completely. Back then, William always said that he was responsible for making money to support the family, and I was responsible for grooming myself to boost his image. So I really stopped caring about other things. Later, I even quit my job to take care of our daughter and him at home. For a full 30 years, I slaved away for their family. Fortunately, I still had some savings left by my parents before marriage. Now even if William wants to divorce me, I'm not afraid. Just as I was thinking, the screen of my phone lit up. It turned out that William couldn't sit still when he saw that I really didn't contact him this time. I deliberately waited until the phone was about to hang up before answering. What's up? You've seen the divorce agreement I put on your table, right? William's voice was tinged with annoyance. Emma, how long are you going to keep making a fuss? My patience has its limits. I looked at the intimate photos of him and Vivian posted on his WeChat moments and sneered ironically. No woman can tolerate her husband asking their child to call someone else mom in public. You think I'm being unreasonable, right? Well, I'm going to see this through to the end. Then I took screenshots of those photos and saved them as evidence for the future. Seeing my firm attitude, William's voice softened a bit. I just wanted to please Vivian so that she would give more money. Isn't that helping to ease the pressure on our family? He said it as if it were a matter of course, as if he was really thinking about the family. Seeing that I didn't respond, William threatened again. I've already lowered my head and admitted my mistake. What more do you want? If you don't come back, we might as well get a divorce. I laughed. Fine. Then I'll make an appointment right now. Let's meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. William seemed to want to say something more, but I hung up on him directly. The world suddenly became much quieter. I immediately started making an appointment. Soon, there was a message saying that I was scheduled for 4 p.m. After sending a message to William, he didn't reply. Obviously, he was angry with me. Looking again, he posted another photo of him kissing Vivian on his WeChat Moments. The caption said, "After going around in circles, it's still you by my side." I knew he was trying to get back at me. But I didn't care anymore. After a while, some mutual friends sent me private messages, asking me what was going on. I replied to each of them that William and I had a bad relationship and were going to get a divorce. Most of them had business dealings with my parents, so naturally they were on my side. As a result, William's reputation started to go bad in our circle. Everyone said he had an affair with his ex-girlfriend and treated me like a tool to be discarded after use. I even turned misfortune into a blessing. That night, 2 new big investors were attracted to me. They sympathized with my experience and said they were willing to give me a hand. After negotiating and signing the contract, I had the most peaceful sleep in a long time. The next day, William called me. He questioned me about what I had told others and why his friends didn't want to hang out with him anymore. I immediately thought that perhaps those old friends did this to stand up for me. "You know what you've done yourself." I just told the truth. After taking all the blame on myself, I hung up the phone again. I remained indifferent even as he became furious on the other end of the phone. In the afternoon, there was a sudden traffic jam in City A. When I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, I was nearly an hour late for the appointed time. William was standing at the door, looking impatient. When he saw me, a flash of triumph crossed his eyes. "Yo, Emma. I thought you didn't have the guts to come." I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. There was a traffic jam on the way. I couldn't help it. Hearing this, he sneered. "Traffic jam? I think you're regretting it. Now you know who's the best for you, right?" I didn't respond to his provocation and just said calmly, "Let's go in." He seemed not to expect me to be so calm and was taken aback for a moment. Then he followed me into the Civil Affairs Bureau. After I arrived, we went to get the divorce certificate. In the office of the Civil Affairs Bureau, we sat opposite the staff, and the procedures were carried out step by step. But when the staff asked if there was any possibility of reconciliation between us, William suddenly grabbed my hand as if he had gone crazy. "Emma, actually I still have feelings for you. We can start over. As long as you say you're willing, we can go back right now." His voice suddenly became gentle, with a hint of pleading in his eyes. Perhaps he really sensed my determination and started to panic. I pulled my hand back and looked at him calmly. "William, there's no turning back for us. I respect your choice, and I hope you can respect mine." Hearing this, the expression on his face instantly turned angry. "What do you mean? I'm giving you a chance, but you don't want it. Do you really want to lose me?" I shook my head. "It's not that I want to lose you. It's that you made your choice long ago. It's over between us." He stared at me with wide eyes, obviously not expecting me to be so resolute. In the end, we still completed the final procedures and got the divorce certificate. When we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, he didn't even give me a glance and turned to leave. And I completely relaxed and went back to that house to start packing my things. This was the first time I had been back in a while. After all, I had lived there for more than 30 years, and I still felt a bit reluctant. After packing, I sat on the bed in silence. My daughter Evelyn was standing at the door, her face gloomy. "Mom, what do you mean? Are you really going to leave this home?" Seeing this, I replied calmly, "I've divorced your father. This is no longer my home." But she suddenly lost control of her emotions and rushed up to push me. "You selfish person, you only care about yourself and not us." At this time, I was pushed and staggered, but I quickly regained my balance. I looked at her, and a sense of inexplicable sadness welled up in my heart. "Evelyn, I've given a lot for this family, but you've never really seen it. I respect your choices and I hope you can respect mine." She seemed to want to say something more, but I no longer paid attention. But my daughter wanted to strike again. This time, I didn't back down and pushed her back directly. Stop using violence. We're all adults and should solve problems in a mature way. My daughter was pushed to the ground and looked at me in disbelief. How dare you hit me? She started crying and making a scene, and it didn't stop until my son-in-law, Daniel, came and pulled her away. Daniel gave me a sympathetic look, and his expression was also very complicated. After finishing moving my things, I stood in the empty room, my heart filled with mixed feelings. I lost a family, but at the same time, I found myself again. Until now, I'm still glad that I was able to extricate myself in time. Then I walked out of the door and took a deep breath of the free air. The future may be full of uncertainties, but at least, I can live according to my own will. I drove away, silently telling myself that from now on, I would live for myself. I didn't care about William or my daughter anymore. I got 500,000 yuan in the divorce settlement and lived in my own house, starting an easy life. Although this 500,000 yuan divorce compensation was not much, it was enough to relieve my financial pressure for the time being. At the company, I also took a short leave. I began to enjoy the tranquility of being alone, regularly going to the gym every day, and occasionally getting together with old friends. My life was simple and easy. One day, the ringtone of my phone broke the tranquility of the afternoon. It was a call from my daughter. Dad is going to get engaged to Aunt Vivian. You didn't cherish it and now you're in trouble. Aunt Vivian is so good to me. She said she'll let me inherit her family business. She's much better than you. There was a hint of schadenfreude in my daughter's voice. Hearing this, I replied indifferently, well then congratulations to you all. She seemed not to expect me to be so calm. After a moment of silence, she said, Dad also said that in order to please Aunt Vivian I have to completely cut off relations with you. Do you agree? I was stunned for a while, then regained my calm. I didn't expect that William would actually do such a thing. But, it didn't matter anymore. Anyway, you'll be living together in the future. I have no objections. Hearing me say this, my daughter on the other end of the phone was completely stunned. Fine, you're really heartless. Let's see how long you can hold on this time. I didn't respond to her, just said lightly, Evelyn, if there's nothing important in the future don't contact me again. When you called Vivian mom at the wedding, I no longer regarded you as my daughter in my heart. After hanging up the phone, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. I realized that for my future happiness, I had to completely cut off the connection with the negative emotions of the past. Then I turned on my phone, blocked the contact information of William and my daughter, and also deleted all their messages and photos. After finishing all this, I sat on the sofa and took a deep breath. General Manager Emma, General Manager William is making a scene in the company. But not long after, my assistant, Oliver, sent me a message. William, together with Vivian, smashed up my office. Looking at the messy office and the shredded documents, a surge of anger welled up in my heart. These were all things that my parents had accumulated over the years. What on earth was William going crazy about this time? Call the security guards to hold them down first. I'm on my way. After saying that, I drove to the company decisively. But as soon as I arrived, I was slapped hard by William. Daniel wants to divorce our daughter because of you, you heartless woman. I'll tear your mouth apart today to see if you still dare to talk nonsense. Only then did I know that my son-in-law, Daniel, had heard the content of the phone call between me and my daughter yesterday. Worried that he would end up like me in the future, he proposed divorce to my daughter. My daughter impulsively tried to commit suicide and was caught by William, so now he came to me with Vivian for an explanation. Emma, look at what you've done. Daniel wants to divorce our daughter all because of you. What have I ever done to you that you want to ruin my family like this? I looked at William coldly as he distorted the facts and put all the blame on me. At this moment, Vivian beside him chimed in and provoked me. Emma, you're really heartless, not even caring about your own daughter. You watched her grow up. Aren't you heartbroken? Vivian said provocatively, her eyes full of pride. I looked at her coldly, and the anger in my heart gradually rose. Vivian, don't act like a good person here. What you and William did has nothing to do with me. Don't throw dirt on me. Any normal person knows that you two are in the wrong. How dare you come here and shout at me? As soon as I finished speaking, I directly punched her. Vivian didn't react in time and was beaten by me without the ability to fight back. She was used to a life of luxury and comfort on a daily basis. How could her strength compare with mine? Soon she fell to the ground and kept begging for mercy. At this time, the security guards also rushed over when they heard the noise and tried to separate us. In the chaos, Vivian's face turned blue, while I wasn't injured. I won't let you go. Just wait. She glared at me fiercely, still looking unyielding. William, feeling sorry for Vivian, helped her up and also glared at me angrily. You savage woman. I want you to pay for the medical expenses. Otherwise, I'll expose what happened today. Hearing this, I called the police in return and said to him calmly, William, let's go to the police station and sort this out. Let's see who should really pay the medical expenses. At the police station, William still wouldn't let it go and tried to shift the blame onto me. However, when the police checked the surveillance video, the truth came to light. The surveillance showed that William and Vivian, along with a group of people, broke into my office and damaged property, while I was just defending myself. Ms. Emma, you are the victim. We will handle this matter properly. Hearing what the police said, William's face instantly turned pale. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. I looked at him calmly. William, do you still want to expose me now? You two came to stir up trouble first, and you still want me to pay? Are you out of your mind? After the police officer finished handling the relevant matters, Vivian was directly detained. Only then did she realize she was scared and kept apologizing to me. But I firmly refused to reconcile. Although it was only 5 days, it was enough to teach her a lesson. William and Evelyn came to plead for mercy, but I directly avoided them. We were wrong. Please let Aunt Vivian go. She's not in good health and really can't take it. I ignored them and directly turned around and left the police station. No matter how much they cried and shouted behind me, I didn't look back. I drove home, knowing that no matter how much William and Vivian tossed around, I wouldn't be affected by them anymore. I thought the matter had been resolved. But unexpectedly, William and my daughter actually started a live stream online to distort the facts and scold me. They not only slandered me for abandoning my family but also said that I had been harassing them. I was sitting in front of the computer, about to deal with some work-related matters. But a suddenly popped-up livestream notification stunned me. When I clicked it open, I saw that it was William and my daughter live streaming, and their words were full of accusations of my heartlessness. Hello, everyone. I'm the ex-husband of the vice general manager of Fengxing Group. Today, I'm going to expose her true face. William's voice came through the microphone with a hint of a choke. Fengxing Group is a large-scale group in our area, which is naturally full of topics. Soon, a lot of onlookers flooded into the live streaming room. William hypocritically squeezed out 2 tears in front of the camera and started to accuse me. For her own career, she abandoned her husband and child. She didn't even attend her daughter's wedding, only caring about her own interests. My daughter's voice joined in, sounding full of grievances. Looking at them on the screen, an indescribable anger welled up in my heart. They distorted the facts in the live stream, portraying me as a heartless villain while they themselves became the innocent victims. Do you know what you're talking about? Is it interesting to keep doing this? I couldn't help leaving a message in the comments section of the live stream to question them. Seeing my message, William sneered and continued, Look, she couldn't help but jump out herself. Emma, do you dare to face up to what you've done? My daughter echoed, You're a selfish person, only thinking about yourself and never considering us. If we weren't pushed to a corner by you, who would choose to do this? Hearing this, I took a deep breath and decided not to remain silent any longer. Seeing more and more netizens, I knew I couldn't let them spread rumors any further. The company is in a crucial development and growth period and can't afford any stains because of me. Subsequently, I opened my account, started a live stream, and confronted them. Hello everyone. I'm Emma. I have to stand up today because my ex-husband and daughter are spreading false information online and slandering my reputation. I divorced William, but it was a mutual decision, and we broke up peacefully. As for my daughter's wedding, I indeed didn't attend. But that's because I couldn't bear the provocation from my ex-husband's first love, Vivian, at the wedding. She insulted my dignity. The audience in the live streaming room started to talk among themselves, and some people began to question what William and my daughter said. They said I abandoned my husband and child, but they never mentioned how much I had sacrificed for this family. For William and my daughter, I gave up all my free time and took care of them wholeheartedly. But now, because of their own self-interests, they didn't hesitate to slander me publicly online. How unfair is that? William and my daughter looked at each other in dismay. Obviously, they didn't expect me to fight back so directly. You can continue, but I won't sit back and watch my reputation being trampled like this. If necessary, I'll take legal action. I looked straight into the camera, my eyes full of determination. After the live stream ended, I closed it, but my heart was still in turmoil. Seeing that the netizens didn't buy their story, William and my daughter had to end the live stream. They tried to contact me with another account, but I blocked them directly. Unexpectedly, this live stream still had an impact on me. Some people who didn't know the truth left messages under our company's official Weibo, with fierce words full of accusations and misunderstandings about me. General Manager Emma, the senior management of our company has noticed the online public opinion and decided to ask you to rest at home for a few days. As soon as I arrived at the company, the president pulled me aside. Hearing this, I was silent for a moment, then replied calmly, "Okay. This time, it's indeed my fault that has brought negative effects to the company." Hearing this, the president patted me on the shoulder meaningfully, gave a few more instructions, and then left. General Manager Emma, this is so unfair. You've made so many contributions to the company. How can you be wronged because of these baseless rumors? My assistant, Oliver, was indignant on my behalf beside me. I stopped him and shook my head with a smile. "Oliver, calm down. I'm really tired these days. It's just an opportunity to go home and have a good rest." "But, General Manager Emma, are you just going to swallow this humiliation?" Oliver looked at me, still dissatisfied. "It's not about swallowing humiliation. The company is in the spotlight right now. Just trust me." After returning home, I sat on the sofa, recalling the ups and downs of the past few decades. Now, I have enough savings to live a carefree life. So no matter what, my future life won't be greatly affected. On the other side, William learned that I was sent home from the company. He sent me a private message on Douyin, which was full of schadenfreude and provocation. "Emma, I heard you were sent home from the company. How pitiful. It seems your good days are over." Looking at the message on the screen, a complex emotion welled up in my heart. The person who was once my partner had become like this. But I don't care. I have enough time and resources to plan my future, while you're still waiting for Vivian to get out of prison, right? So what? Vivian is from a wealthy family and doesn't care about having a criminal record at all. What do you know? William replied to me instantly. Obviously, he had been waiting for my response. "I really don't know, but at least I know that true happiness isn't built on others' pain." "What do you mean? When did I build my happiness on your pain? Don't just throw any blame on me." There was a hint of provocation in William's tone. "Wasn't what you and Vivian did exactly that? But it doesn't matter. I've let it go. I just hope you can control yourself in the future and stop disturbing me. Don't worry. I don't want to have anything to do with you either." Subsequently, William replied to me, with a hint of coldness, that couldn't be better. I replied briefly and then blocked him without hesitation. The moment the private message window closed, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. I realized that my entanglement with William could finally come to an end. Every time I had contact with him, I would seriously doubt how I could have been so blind as to fall in love with him in the first place. 2 days later, Vivian was released from prison. And in order to tie her down, William immediately set a wedding date with her. This news quickly spread in our mutual social circle. I accidentally came across a Douyin video posted by Vivian. In the video, she and William were arm in arm, smiling, announcing their wedding date. I watched it quietly for a few seconds, then closed the video. Subsequently, I sat on the sofa, holding a freshly brewed cup of tea in my hand, gently blowing away the heat. The tea fragrance filled the air. I took a deep breath, feeling the peace brought by the tea. According to my investigations in the past few days, Vivian is far from being a good person. She came back this time because she wanted to find a rich man to cling to. The 300,000 yuan she mentioned at the wedding was just bragging, she didn't actually give it. That's because Vivian has gone bankrupt abroad. But William never investigated these things and is still acting arrogantly here. I just find it ridiculous. I sat in front of the computer, my fingers quickly tapping on the keyboard, organizing the information I had collected about Vivian. Then I decided to send someone to disclose this information to William. It was both for revenge and to see what he would do. I picked up my phone and dialed Oliver's number. Oliver readily agreed and sent me a recording of the whole conversation. On the other end, William's voice carried a hint of impatience. "Who are you? I have something about Vivian that I want to tell you." "Oh? Sent by Emma, right? What new tricks is she up to ruin my happiness?" His tone was full of sarcasm. "This isn't about ruining, but reminding." "Do you really know Vivian?" Oliver asked straightforwardly. "Of course. She's a successful person, and we get along well." Hearing this, Oliver took a deep breath and then started to tell him everything I had told her. Vivian has gone bankrupt abroad. She came back because she needs money and a rich guy to rely on. There was silence on the other end of the phone. I could feel William's shock. Where did you hear this?" His voice was no longer as firm. "I have my sources. You figure it out yourself." Are you lying to me?" His voice started to tremble. "You can check it out yourself. I just hope you can see the truth and not be deceived by Vivian's superficial glamour." William didn't say anything more, and the recording ended with the beep sound of the phone being hung up. A few days later, I learned from a mutual friend that after William found out the truth, he confronted Vivian angrily and finally decided to cancel the engagement. The so-called regret from his youth that he talked about was actually incredibly fragile. This time, he finally saw Vivian's true face and realized how stupid his past actions were. In the afternoon, I was sitting on the balcony of my home, enjoying the rare tranquility, but the doorbell suddenly rang. When I got up to open the door, I found William standing outside. He was wearing a simple pair of jeans and a shirt. Without his usual elaborate makeup, he looked haggard. When he saw me, a hint of hesitation flashed in his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by determination. "Emma, can we talk?" His voice was low, with a barely noticeable tremble. I leaned against the doorframe, not inviting him in, and just looked at him coldly. "Talk about what?" I think there might be some misunderstandings between us." William tried to force a smile, but it looked forced and awkward. "Misunderstandings?" I sneered. "William, I know everything about you and Vivian. Now that you come back to me, do you think I'm still as stupid as I used to be?" He lowered his head, and his voice carried a hint of pleading. "Emma, I know I was wrong. I really regret it. Can we start over?" I looked at him, feeling no waves in my heart. The former love and pain had now turned into nothingness. "William, you once sacrificed our family and relationship for Vivian. Now that she's let you down, you want to come back to me? Do you think I would accept someone who has betrayed me?" At this moment, my tone was full of sarcasm. I really know I was wrong." Tears started to well up in his eyes, but my heart remained unmoved. "William, leave. I won't give you another chance to hurt me." Then I looked straight into his eyes, my tone firm and decisive. He seemed to want to say something more, but I had already closed the door, leaving him and everything in the past outside. I went back to the balcony, sat back in my chair, and took a deep breath. At the same time, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. Coincidentally, the company had also dealt with the live streaming incident and invited me back. Oliver was waiting at the company gate to pick me up. He was overjoyed when he saw me. "General Manager Emma, I've finally been waiting for you to come back." We started working again and didn't go home until the afternoon. In the evening, just as I was about to have dinner, the doorbell rang again. I looked through the peephole and saw my daughter's figure. I hadn't seen her for a long time, and she had lost a lot of weight. At this moment, she was standing outside the door, her hair wet from the rain, and her face full of anxiety. As soon as I opened the door, she immediately said, "Mom, I know I was wrong. Can you forgive me? Dad hasn't been home for a long time, and I've spent all the money." I looked at her, and a complex emotion welled up in my heart. They were used to a life of ease, and now, without others to rely on, they came back to me. But I'm not a pushover who can be taken advantage of all the time. "Evelyn, I gave you countless chances before, but you chose to stand by William and Vivian. Now, I need to live for myself." Hearing this, a hint of pleading flashed in her eyes. "Mom, I really regret it. I need you." I didn't say anything more and forcefully closed the door. I won't be soft-hearted towards either of them anymore. No matter what, I won't go back to being a fool who's taken advantage of. Then I turned around and went back to the kitchen to continue preparing my dinner, feeling an unprecedented sense of peace in my heart. But a few days later, I heard a shocking piece of news: Vivian was stabbed to death by William. It turned out that William asked Vivian for money, and they got into an argument. In a fit of anger, William stabbed Vivian to death. I had met her 2 or 3 times before, so I had an impression of her. I looked at the constantly flashing name on the screen, feeling no emotion at all. "Emma, I want to see you." His voice sounded extremely weak and sincere. I knew he wanted to see me for the last time. But in my heart, there was no place for him anymore. "William, there's nothing left to say between us. All of this is your own doing," I replied coldly and then hung up the phone. Then I put down my phone and continued reading my book. The rain outside was getting heavier and heavier, but my world was unusually peaceful. After I finished dealing with the company's affairs, I thought about resigning and going traveling. I trapped myself in a small family for the first 30 years. Now that I have money and time, I should live for myself once. From now on, all my days will be good days.